Hello, 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 world. Hello, hello, once again. It is I, your favorite boy, and we're back again with another episode. This is the third one. It's another episode of the official Black Luvuno World podcast. And today I will be continuing on the information that I left out from the previous episode that I did because I was supposed to speak on three things. I ended up doing two because I didn't want the video to be too long. But this one right here is sort of like an extension from the last one. So be sure to watch it until the end and really grasp what I'm going to be talking about. But first things first, I want to thank everyone for liking, tuning in, subscribing, commenting, sharing. It's been very, very real from you guys, and I urge everyone to continue doing that. Moving on forward, the love is just overwhelming and beautiful, and I am humbled because I'm only sharing just bits of information that I am aware of. I myself don't know that much, but with what I know and the access that I have to the internet, basically to get books, read them, be informed, and come and inform people, tell you which books to go to, that makes it all worth it. That makes it really, really exciting for me. And secondly, before I even start speaking on uncertainty, I wanted to take time to kind of like address something because we spoke about changing paradigms, or shifting paradigms, and we spoke about the power of self-talk, positive thinking, which are very, very great things for self-development. But I think we also need to talk about taking action because it's great to have positive mindsets. It's great to affirmate yourself and talk positive things to yourself, say nothing but beautiful things to yourself. But at the end of the day, if you're not really going to take action to then try and change your situation, to try and change or shift the paradigm that you really want to shift, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because the greatest people, or your overachievers, or the ones that you consider as people who have accomplished some of the most amazing things, it's not that they don't have negative thoughts creeping into their brains every now and then. It's happening because some thoughts are popping up in our brains involuntary. You're not even thinking you're gonna think like that, but it just comes. Some are popping in and out. Some pop in and they really, really bother you and they stay there. So no one is actually an exception to that. Everyone has negative thoughts creeping in. I have negative thoughts that I still have to battle with on a daily, and I don't think it will get better as life goes or as time goes. It's something that I'm gonna have to endure for the rest of my life. It's just that I need to have a voice in my head that is loud enough to tell me when something is just not right, or when my brain is playing tricks on me. So the greatest people are not an exception to this as well. They have these thoughts, but what makes them, or what makes them great, and separates them from the rest of the crowd, is the ability to endure these negative thoughts, the positive ones as well, but being able to take action. Because you can be fired up early in the morning thinking life is gonna be good today, gonna work out, I'm gonna lose this weight, but if you're not really gonna get out of bed and start doing the work, then you've just been thinking about it and you haven't really done anything about it. Same thing for someone who's like, I'm optimistic today, I'm going to work, I'm asking for a raise from my boss. Then you get there and you don't really do it. Well, you were positive, you were gonna do it, but there's a difference between doing and talking about it. I think that's what separates the best from the rest: the doing and the talking. So you can talk about it, I can talk about it, and not really do anything amazing. I hope everyone really gets that, and you not just get it, but you take time and look around you and look at some days in your life where you've really been positive, but you didn't really get to do it the way you were supposed to really shift that. Because part of creating a habit is taking action. So you do this thing, it becomes your habit, it becomes something that you do automatically on daily. Now you've shifted the paradigm completely. Let's get into it. Let's get into this uncertainty. Forgive me if I'm gonna be sharing and forgetting some of the things, because there's a lot. That's why I wanted to do it. Just the uncertainty only, nothing else. Because I feel like there's so much to talk about when it comes to uncertainty. First things first, we as humans are really addicted, and I'm not an exception to this myself. We are addicted to certainty, being right, predicting the outcome, wanting to know basically, if I do this is what's going to happen. And life is just the complete opposite of that, because there's days where you can't even predict how you're gonna feel like tomorrow. Can't predict it. It just comes. It happens. But we so clingy when it comes to certainty that we are scared of uncertainty. Uncertain situations or scenarios, they really bring the fear out of us. I'll make an example for you. You remember when maybe you were moving into a new place or you were starting a new job, you were skeptical about it. You had this feeling you couldn't shake until you started doing it, because you had an expected outcome, but maybe your feelings when you started doing this didn't really match how everything unfolded. So how you felt was the exact opposite of how everything unfolded. So many times you would tell yourself, maybe your friends are asking you, they're like, oh, let's go to a party, and you're like, yo, I don't feel like going to a party because I'm just gonna be bored, or I am not really into it today. And maybe they force you to go, or they talk you into it. Finally you go. Remember that you already told yourself you are not going to enjoy yourself. You get there, things change, you have fun, you come back, and you're in a better mood than when you left the house in. That's uncertainty. You were not certain, but you going and doing that brought you a different perspective. There's an author of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, The 5 a.m. Club, and so many other books, bestsellers, Robin Sharma. And there's a quote that has stuck with me for years now, and I don't think I'll ever forget it, because for me it really got me thinking about a lot of things when I first heard it. So he says, the seduction of safety is more dangerous than the illusion of uncertainty. So think about it, break it down. In my perspective, that really just paints a picture that most of the things that we consider safe, most of the times they are just illusions. It's not really safe. And I'll make you an example. But most of the things that we consider really uncertain, that's where there is life. That's where you learn new things. That's where you find the new. That's where you find things that you didn't know. That's where success is. That's where failure is as well. Because what people are really, really scared of when it comes to changing is being uncertain. And they are really scared of failing. And failure, I'm sure you've heard it so many times, that failure is the birth of many successes. After failing, you are fired up. I know this because I've been there. I'm still gonna be there. After failing, you are fired up. It's like they gave you like 10 shots of tequila. You just want more, because you feel like, I'm so close, I'm so close, I'm so close. I'm improving. And you're only gonna get better with time. That's why they say with failure comes success. So the more you fail, the more closer you get to success. Because no one fails doing the very same thing. Everyone is failing and moving forward. If you're an observant person, that is, every time you fail, you need to observe, why did I fail? Then you can move forward. So the seduction of safety is more dangerous than the illusion of uncertainty. So here, safety and certainty are the illusion. There's no such thing as safety. There's no such thing as, certainty. And you spend a lifetime chasing certainty and never really, really attaining it. You spend a lifetime trying to play things safe and just feeling miserable and not really, really progressing in life. Now, time for the examples. I'm gonna make cliche examples because I want to paint pictures in people's brains. People like Steve Jobs and the co-founders of Apple. Do you really think there were moments where they doubted themselves? Do you think they didn't have fear when they started the company and they decided to take it public? Because they had to deal with the reception from the people. How are people going to receive us? How are people going to welcome us? Are they really going to like that we have a different software? Are they going to like that we're bringing something that is completely different? And when they started, introducing it and they saw the reception, people are liking it, some people are rejecting it, then they started, okay, now how can we improve this? 15 plus years ago, Apple wasn't as big as it is today. Today it's $1 trillion company, because it was full of people who believed they can do something great. They believed they can do something different. And most of all, they leaned onto fear. They allow fear to be the thing that guides them. The Wright brothers, the first people to create an aircraft. Today we have planes, but those are the first people to initiate that process of creating something that takes off from the ground and is able to soar in the sky. Those people created that thing from a bicycle shop. That's where they started it, from a bicycle shop, and through them starting and realizing after they started, they saw, okay, for this to really, really happen the way that we say we want it to happen, for this to take off, we need a strip. We need a strip that is long enough for us to really push this thing to a momentum that is gonna allow it to take off. And they felt so many times before eventually they were able to have a plane that takes off and doesn't crash. So many times they failed. They had planes that couldn't get off ground. They had planes that got off ground, but as soon it didn't even stay like a minute after just rising, it crashes. But in doing, they realize this thing is possible. I can do it. So they allowed their fear. They allowed those uncertain moments to really, really pave the path for them to move forward. The thing with society today, or most of us, is that we in a way we've been like robbed. We've been robbed of our ability to not allow fear to consume us, but let fear be the the navigator in our path. Because they say where you feel the most resistance or where you fear the most, that's where you need to go, basically. Because that's where they knew is going to happen. That's where your success is. You need to risk to be successful. You need to risk to be happy. You need to risk to accomplish great things. That's not rocket science. That is not rocket science. That is something simple, very, very simple. Here in South Africa, there's people like DJ Sbu. DJ Sbu launched More Fire. I remember very well, I was still in varsity. And he was growing the brand through just taking videos by his phone. And then, back then, the brand wasn't even on like stores like Pick n Pay, ShopRite, your big supermarkets. It wasn't on those stores. It was still at some random stores that are not really, really famous, and he was just pushing it, advertising it, pushing it. Today, I'm sure it's a multi-million rand company, and it's gonna be a billion rand company soon, because it has someone who understands that what people really think about you is not really important. It's about what you believe in. It's about fearing, but then putting fear aside, then doing. So there's not much of like a difference between us and the great people. The only difference is the action. They take action. They don't waste time sitting around talking about it, planning too much, because that's another thing. When something is in theory and when something is practical, it's just not the same. Talking about it and doing it, it's not the same. And I've always been saying this. I always say it, and I'll always say it. So you need to take action. There's a quote on this book. I hope people get this book and read it for themselves, because it's really, really, really informative. And I'll be going to the next book. I can't really, really remember the title very well. I don't know if it's The War of Art or The Art of War, but something along those lines. I'm just like switching out some words there, but it's along those lines. That's the next book I'm going into, and it speaks about resistance. Resistance being fear, how it's cunning. Something that is cunning is something that is seductive, seduces you. Resistance will reason with you, to sit down with you, wine and dine, and really, really talk you out of whatever you want to do. That's how cunning it is. That's how seductive it is. That's the seduction of safety. Safety is so seductive. I wonder how people are willing to settle for doing the very same thing. How can you do the very same thing for years? Man, I get fed up doing the very same thing for like a week. Then I'm fed up doing the very same thing that I'm now feeling like comfortable doing. I'm gonna get fed up. I want to do something different, because I feel like when you risking and when you existing in an uncertainty state, that's where you are most alive. That's where you're most alive. Me doing this, being behind the camera and talking to people, this scares me to death. And I remember when I first shot my first video, I wasn't even like this good at talking. And it's not that I'm not good at talking, but I was nervous. I didn't really know what was gonna be the response, but I was like, fuck it. Anyway, I'm gonna do it. Because I don't just want to be good at writing things, I want to be good at communicating with people. So, I wonder how people are comfortable being comfortable. Well, comfortable is nice, but how long are you willing to live the way that you are living? How many more years? How can you go for 5 years doing the very same thing and not trying anything new? We are so seduced by safety, even like going to the stores, we are buying the very same brands that other people are buying or we've seen, but there are alternatives of the same price that are not as famous, but we stick to the things that we know. Now I want to ask a few questions. Well, you'll answer them yourselves. How can you go to a new place if you are always inside the house? How can you make friends or start a relationship, a romantic one that is, if you don't meet new people? How? It's impossible. So you gotta step out of your comfort zone. You gotta go into the world of uncertainty. And things will start happening for you. So I was talking about a quote that is on the book. It's by Theodore Roosevelt. And he says, in any moment of decision making, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The second best thing you can do is the wrong thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. Now again, you will break that down for yourself, what it means for you. I'll tell you my perspective of it. So if I was faced with a decision, do I really want to work out? The best thing I can do is go to the gym and really work out. That's the right thing. The second best thing is maybe me just waking up and doing a couple of push-ups and being like tired, which is wrong, but it's right at the same time. So it's the best thing. Or I could choose the worst thing ever, and that is me just laying there and not doing anything. And that is just my example. I have so many other examples, but you make your own examples. You look at areas in your life where this applies, because we all have our demons, we all have our places, and they really haunt us. Places of problems, places of things that we can't really overcome. Well, we can't really overcome momentarily. It's not forever. It's just something that you've chose to accept it the way it is for now. But as soon as you realize the power you have over everything, you can change it. And as soon as we see that fear is just a navigator in our path, the things that we fear the most are the things that we should be doing the most. That's where we should be going towards. Where there's resistance, that's where your new is. That's where your life is. That's where you need to go. And you need to really ignore what people are going to say and what people think. But that doesn't mean now you have to be a lunatic and just go all ace-hole on everyone, you know. But understand that life goes on whether people have opinions or not. I'll give you one more example because I love y'all. Well, this one, I don't mean to like attack anyone. It's just an example. You remember when we went to high school and we were told, you know, after going to varsity, you're gonna get employed and get a job. Well, I know so many people who have graduated, they don't have jobs. Excuse me. They don't have jobs. And I know people that never really even went to varsity, that have a life. They're doing great. I know people who have been to varsity who are doing great as well. But I wanna basically make you understand that the safety they told us about before we went to varsity, before we started school, that after school you're getting a job, it was an illusion. Look at us today. Most of us are miserable. Most of us are suffering from depression because we do not know what to do with ourselves. And school has robbed us of so many years, we feel. You know, and that's just how life is. And like I said, I know people who never really went to school, but they are making it. Those are people who really harnessed their being and their potential. They understand that for them to really have a life, they need to go and get it. They don't need to sit around and feel sorry for themselves. They don't need to sit around and point fingers at someone else, but they need to go get it, because only they have the power to change the situations that they are in. Now, I'm not gonna keep this very long. That was my last example. I'm hoping people take the time to go read the book again, as I did say. If you're looking for the title, you can comment. I'll reply to you and give you the title of the book. And then I'll be moving on the next video. I'll be moving on to the next book that I'm gonna be doing. I didn't include any quotes on this. I won't include anything. But for this book, I am done. I didn't go through all the chapters. I think it's like 2 or 3 chapters that are left, but you can go and read those for yourselves. I wanted to do this uncertainty part because, you know, for me, it's kind of personal. And I know there's a lot of information that I left out of this that I didn't talk about, but I hope what I've said is really informative and you are able to like dig through it and look at yourself, look at your life, and understand that uncertainty is an illusion. There's no such thing. Your whole life is uncertain. You know, you wake up and meet people and you're not even sure how the next person you meet is, how they are. You're not sure their character. You're not even sure how they're going to treat you. You are not sure. That's uncertainty. It's forever existing. So allow it to be the compass that is guiding you in your path. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching again. It's been nothing but love, sharing. And please like the video. Please comment if you want to leave a comment. Please share it. And please subscribe. Yours truly, The Boy.